hope, passion, resilience, purpose, struggles, triumph, motives. Every person has a story, a reason for being who they are. If we take the time to listen, we can begin to understand their unique way of seeing the world. Welcome to the second chapter of the My Story podcast. I'm your host, Ari. Well, guys, welcome back to yet another episode of the My Story podcast. I don't know if a couple of weeks ago you've seen me on the Hot5ive podcast, but today I have one of the hosts with me, and I'm excited for that. So today I have with me Matt. Hello, Matt.
What's up, Ari?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Chilling.
Okay, are you ready to get into your story? Because you seem a little scared.
I'm super nervous. I ain't never told my story before, so.
I'm excited to hear it. I actually met you in a convocation in 2024, which was interesting. I saw you along with a lot of other students, and getting to see you now after a couple of months and how you've developed and have your own podcast now with Kyler. Yeah. That's great. But before we get into all those details, who are you, Matt?
So my full name is Matthew Fitzgerald. I know you asked me a question about where my last names come from, so I'm gonna give you a rundown of my full name. All right.
Okay.
So my name is Matthew Alexander. My middle name is Alexander. My mom is a very Black history buff.
Okay.
Matthew Alexander Henson was the first Black man to explore the North Pole. So that's where I get Matthew Alexander from.
Okay.
And my last name, believe it or not, is an Irish last name. My last name is Fitzgerald. Now, I want you to guess how a Black man could get an Irish last name whose family is from down south.
I really am afraid to guess, so I prefer you tell me. I don't want to say something I shouldn't.
Let's just say we know what happened, okay?
We all know what happened. Okay.
I don't have to say it. I just wanted to make you uncomfortable, but I do have a good story about that.
Yeah, okay.
So my last name is Fitzgerald. My favorite football player's last name is Fitzgerald, Larry Fitzgerald. So growing up, I always wore the number 11 in any sport that I played. And whenever people would ask me, was I related to him, I would say, yeah. I've never met him. I don't know if I'm related to him, but it's pretty cool to me.
That is really cool that actually you found someone you look up to and actually share the same name also.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I laughed earlier when you said I just wanted to make you feel very uncomfortable because when we were talking about you being on this podcast, you actually said, I can't wait to make you feel uncomfortable with my last name. I'm like, what does that even mean? Yeah. Okay. Now I know. It's funny. That's interesting. So what do you do besides the Hot5ive podcast? What do you study? Who really are you? What makes Matt?
So right now, school-wise, which let's cut the boring part out first. School-wise, I'm working with O3 Media. It's a media company. We just started working on a movie called Punching Judy. We're about to wrap that up. Nice. Starting on a new one now, so I'll have a meeting or something for that after this. Other than that, I'm a camera operator and a technical director for ESPN. I'm a reporter for The Arrow. I got a lot going on right now.
You got a lot going on. So what made you decide to get into the whole mass media aspect?
So my degree is actually TV and film, and I'm not going to lie to you, I never thought that I was going to be doing this when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
What was your dream job then?
I was going to be the starting wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals. That was going to be my job, or I was going to be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Those are my two dream jobs.
What made you decide then to go into TV and film?
So I've been doing, I guess, TV and film since I was 14 or 15. I didn't know I was doing it at the time, but working in my church, I would work the cameras and basically run a whole broadcast when I was a kid. So I've been doing that for 5 or 6 years. And I originally was going to go to Mizzou for journalism. Slacked off in high school, so I didn't have the GPA requirements to get into Mizzou for journalism.
Okay.
But it was kind of a blessing because I'm a reporter, but I do not like writing a whole lot. So I know it doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about that, because I feel I've heard a lot of reporters say that it's not that they don't like to write. it's just that they stumbled upon this MMJ thing in writing, and they love to do it, but it's not that they dream of doing it most likely.
I think the reason that I was hesitant about writing is because of the style. I'm not really a big fan of like
the AP style guide and all
I'm
that
not
stuff.
really a big fan. I like to have my swag in there sometimes.
Okay.
So
Okay, yeah.
I get into fights with Beto about that sometimes. Like, hey, don't edit this part, you know.
Okay. But then it's good that at least Beto is the editor for sports of the Arrow. Beto is amazing. We're gonna have him at some point if we had not already when I post this.
That's my guy.
Yeah, Beto's amazing. But it's cool that he lets you have your own little style within the story, because not a lot of people like allow that and do that, especially with AP style. So when did you fall in love with the whole reporter and mass media thing? Like, yes, this is definitely what I want to do and study. And how did you end up at SEMO after the Mizzou thing?
So to answer your first question, the only thing that I cared about when I was a kid was sports and wrestling. I think they're one and the same. I think wrestling is a sport. However, those are the only two things that I cared about. And I could talk to anybody about those two things for hours. So I figure like I always like low-key like telling stories, because that's what sports and wrestling is to me. It's like telling stories that eventually lead to a big payoff. So reporting is kind of like what did that for me. And now with filmmaking and stuff like that, that's also what it does for me as well.
Okay, so how did you end up in SEMO then after the whole Mizzou?
Mizzou costs more money.
Okay, so you just like
plus I couldn't get in. Yeah, I couldn't get into Mizzou for GPA requirements, which I didn't have like a terrible GPA. It was just like they had a high GPA requirement, so I couldn't get in, and so I enrolled here for TV and film, which I believe is a blessing, because like I would have went to Mizzou and I wouldn't have the opportunities that I have here. So.
Yeah, here you have your own podcast, like right from the start. Yeah. Check out Hot5ive. That's a really good podcast. So what are some hardships, like difficulties you have encountered throughout your life that have maybe helped you, like have a change, maybe mentality, like, oh, this happened, now I'm going to be better and going to just work harder and stuff?
So graduating high school, it was kind of rough because like I had no idea for real what I was going to do. Like I played football in high school. I had one D3 offer. So I wasn't going to the league no more like I thought I was.
That's hard.
Yeah, I had one. So I basically like didn't know what I was going to do, because the only reason I was going to go to college anyway was to play football. And I was going to go, but it just cost too much money. So that fell through. And I graduated, and I didn't know what I was going to do. But my parents was like, you got to figure something out. Like, you can't just sit around. So I enrolled in community college, and I did that for, like, a semester. And I was like, I mean, I guess I'm going to keep going. Like, I can't just stop now. So through a lot of hard work, I ended up graduating. I graduated last spring. So I'm here with my associate's degree right now. But I would just say, like, the hardship I had the most was probably not knowing my purpose.
Oh.
And, like, I still didn't know it until I got denied for journalism at Mizzou.
Can you go into that a little bit? Because I said, like, ooh, like, that's something that a lot of people, and I'm not going to say, like, kids or teenagers, like, people in general, all ages, struggle with, like, not knowing your purpose. Would you say now you know your purpose?
100%, yeah.
How did you find that, or what made you think into your mind, like, Mizzou happened, you got kind of like rejected because of the GPA, and what made you find your purpose after that?
Everything happens for a reason. Little did I know I was writing stories and like making up my own like worlds and stuff like that since I was a kid. Like I remember like writing down what I liked from shows and stuff like that, or like which wrestlers I liked, and I'm gonna put them together and I'm gonna write like why they're actually fighting, or making up in my head like I'll make like a Madden franchise and just go through years of like these players developing stories or whatever like that. So I feel like I'm not gonna make this like a religious like podcast, but like
Mm-hmm.
putting my trust in God, like He gonna lead my steps, and He got me to where I am now.
Now, I believe in God, and I have talked to guests who also share the same faith, and they have said similar things. Like at some point, it just comes to trust. It just comes to taking that leap of faith and just going through the emotions. Really,
Yeah, it's like everything happens for a reason. Like everything happens for a reason. I got denied for journalism, so I could come do TV and film, and now I'm doing both of them. So
that is a blessing within itself.
yeah,
And it doesn't matter like your own, like whoever beliefs you have. Sometimes it just really takes a leap of faith. And I had a guest here that said rejection is redirection. And he took it out of his sign. He saw, I forgot the name of the store. He just saw it. And when he said that, I'm like, wow. Because sometimes we have this misconception that rejection, oh, people hate me and all that stuff. Like, no.
This is not for you.
Yes, it's not for you. It's not really what you're meant to do in life. And sometimes it's, again, whatever your beliefs are, but I think it's just some God redirecting you someplace, or life, maybe if you want to say like that, redirecting you to where you're supposed to end up in.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. So I have to ask, what is the idea behind Hot5ive? Because I'm very curious. A lot of people already seen you guys' podcast, but I want to know the brainstorming behind it.
So it's funny that you asked that, because I was over one of my friend's house the other night, and we were talking about it. He works for O3 Media too. His name is Jake. He's great.
Cool.
But anyway, and we were talking about it, and he was like, how long have you known Kyler?
That's another question, because you guys like are best friends.
Yeah.
And I don't know, have you guys known each other before this?
I met Kyler in August. Yeah.
For the record, that's 4 months ago.
Yes. Well, not even 4.
No, not even 4. 3 months ago.
August, September, October. That's 2 months ago.
2 months ago. I'm sorry, I can't count.
Yeah.
And you guys are so inseparable now.
Yeah.
Was
That's
it
my
that
guy.
like a clique, like friendship type thing?
So I am a very like quiet, like to myself person, and
Yeah.
I just remember like we would have like the aerial meetings, and Kyler would just like say what's up to me, and then I'll just like go on about my day, or like we'll be out somewhere and he'll just say what's up to me, because he does it to everybody. He's a social butterfly. I'm not. But he just said what's up to me, and then one day we were talking, and they were like asking if anybody wants to do a podcast, and he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I was like, I don't really have nothing going on, so I just asked him, like, would you want to do a show? Like, what's your idea? And he didn't have any idea what he was going to do.
He was just, I'm going to
He
do
was
it.
just like,
He's
I'm
like
just gonna
that.
do it. That's how he is. But yeah, we ended up talking. I didn't even have his number at the time. Like, I think I had his Instagram or something like that.
Okay. So you really were just like taking a leap of faith.
Yeah, like we didn't know each other like at all. But we ended up like one day having a meeting at like at the UC. We just like grabbed lunch. Okay. And I was like, what is your idea? Like, you finna record this show. You asked me to help you. You don't have no idea what you're gonna do. And he was just like, you know what, man, we gonna talk about everything. We're gonna talk about music. We're gonna talk about sports. And I was like, yeah, but what is your actual like plan? What is your format for the show?
Yeah, like there was the production guide.
Yeah, and eventually I was gonna help him with his show, like behind the scenes, and I was gonna do my own.
Okay.
But then, like, when I started thinking about it as we were talking, I was like, this could kind of be like a thing. Like, he's the going out type of person, and then I could be like the straight man for this podcast. Like, keeps everything on track.
You're like
so,
it's
okay. It's kind of like a buddy cop movie, kind of.
You guys are like the introvert extrovert perfect example of friends.
It's the perfect match.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had the meeting, and I was like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. I got an idea called Hot5ive. That was the first thing that came out. Like, I wrote this down in my notes app and everything. I called the show Hot5ive, and I was like, we're gonna talk about 5 topics in 5 minutes. And then we recorded the podcast an hour later, and now we're here.
That is the most interesting story I've heard, because I would have never guessed that you guys had never interacted with each other before SEMO.
Yeah.
Because also, like, again, if you guys haven't seen their podcast, go check it out. But your guys' dynamic works so well. And like you said, Kyler is so energetic and you're just like chill. You have like your energy burst here and there. Yeah. But he's like so like energetic. Let's go. Let's do this.
It's like I know when to flip the switch, but his switch is always on.
Yes. Yeah. It's amazing though, because sometimes you just need that energy and he just like brings it to the table all the time, which is so cool.
I don't know if y'all noticed or not, but me and Kyler are actually neighbors.
Really?
Like we live on the same floor, like 4 doors down.
In the same dorm?
Towers, yeah.
Really?
Like he helped me move over there and everything because I was staying in Vandiver. So like him and Eleanor, his girlfriend, just helped me like move over there. So
that is so cool. Wow. Now you guys are neighbors.
Yeah. It's just
of course.
I joked about it one time. I'm like, he's gonna be the best man at my wedding. Like, yeah.
Well, is that serious right now?
And I just met him. Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. That's a really cool friendship story.
Yeah, man.
It's like, again, one of my guests said, we were talking about friends, and he said, you know, when you just see someone and you're just like, we're going to be friends now. Yeah. That's not like that, but kind of like that. You guys are already friends.
Yeah, that's definitely what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool. So getting back into your story, what are some goals you want to achieve, like moving forward? Like, what do you want to do when you graduate?
All right, my goals list. I'm going to start off small. Or should I start off big?
Start off big.
All right. My goal is to work WrestleMania, the Super Bowl, the World Series. What else do I want to do? And the World Cup. I want to work those 4 as a technical director or a camera operator.
That is so cool.
I also want to work on a blockbuster movie. Like, I want to do... Yeah, I want to do a lot.
But that's good because some people are afraid to dream big, and no, you need to dream big. So, what blockbuster? Like create your own movie?
I don't like writing that much. Like I can't write a script.
Okay.
Like, I can't do 120 pages. But like as a director or something like that, I think it would be perfect.
Okay. I see. So, like, work with someone that already has the concept and just direct them into that. Okay.
You write it up and I'll put it in motion for you.
Nice. You heard it here. He'll put it in motion. Yeah. You said it with so much confidence. I love it. Okay. So, that's interesting. So, based on your story, school-wise, and the goals you have for the future, what advice would you give people, students, future students, people who are just like maybe struggling with their purpose or what they want to do in life? What would you say to them?
For some reason, when everybody turns, I don't know how it is in Puerto Rico, but like whenever you turn 18 in this country, you have to know what you're going to do. Like, it ain't no excuse, especially, like, let's be real. Being a black man in America, you got to know what you're going to do. 16, 17, 18. I feel like take your time. Like, of course, you need to be, like, working or going to school or doing something. But take your time and, like, actually figure out what you want to do. Because by the time you turn 20, 21, 22, you're going to have an idea of what you want to do. And when you follow your dreams and, like, start doing what you love, life is just going to be so much more enjoyable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to round up this episode. Just do what you need to do. And I think adding a little bit to that is don't be afraid to do what you want to do. Don't do what other people want you to do. Because I feel like that happens a lot in this country also. And just don't be afraid to explore your options, you know? Just be confident, do it with your whole chest, and just be the best version of yourself for today.
I like that. Get a dream, stick to it, and shoot for the stars.
Oof. What a way. Yeah. What a way with words. Well, thank you, Matt, for being here. And I hope to see more about the Hot 5 podcast. Thank you guys for joining. What did I say? What
We
did
have
I
to start
say?
all the way over now. We're starting all the way over. No,
Yeah,
go
delete
ahead.
this. No, it's joking. Thank you guys for joining us today. See you next week. Thanks for listening to this episode. Make sure to subscribe, and if you want more stories, listen to Chapter 1.